Hello and welcome to File New. My name is Ryan Selvy. This is File New. This is your weekly source of tech news, art news, and design news, creative resources coming at you every week on Wednesdays here on Adobe Live. I'm very excited to be your host, and I'm also really excited that last week we had a guest host swoop in and the show went on, and it just makes me really happy because File New is just becoming this super regular thing for you so that you can always rely on it to be on here at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays on Adobe Live for all your resources. And I want to thank Wade Cuff so much for stepping in and doing the whole thing, which was great. Now, I do want to say hello to everyone that is in the chat and say hello to Rob Keys, Robert, Wade. Thank you all for being here, both on Behance and on YouTube. Over on YouTube, we also have our friend Dennis Babakin. Thank you for being here. Came on in and pulled a real, just say your name and see what's up. So it's great to see everyone in here. If this is your first time tuning in, this is going to be a quick on breakdown of some updated news. We're going to be going into some gift ideas because, believe it or not, you only got about a month left before the holiday season. And there might be an artist in your life that works on some digital stuff that you really want to help out and want to help them create some cool stuff, but also give them a good gift. So we've got a lot to go through. But at the very top end of the news show today, we've got a lot of Adobe news. So I'm excited to hop on into that. Let's go ahead and hop into our first segment, which is the news. So very first news coming off the idea of getting ready for the holidays. I wanted to just bring up that Adobe is having a Black Friday sale. You can save up to 50% on Creative Cloud for Black Friday, and this is not even just for like a month. This is for your entire first year. So if you sign up through this link, that's also going to be in the chat for you and in the description. If you sign up with it, you get pay for just $30 rather than $60, and this is for your annual paid monthly plan. It's going on until November 29th. If you're watching this right now, it's November 20th, so you've got until next Friday. But if you're watching the replay, you are able to also hop on in and go into it. We have the Raindrop link, and the Raindrop link is going to have all the episodes. This is episode 69. You can also look back on previous episodes, and we have hashtags for news, resources, spotlight, you name it. I'll try to update them as best I can. Thank you for Wade and Oliver for saying hello over on YouTube. It's great to have you here. If you guys have a chance to say hello. Yes, Oliver saying hi, algorithm, over on YouTube. If you have a YouTube account, it means so much to us if you just at least ping at least a hello onto YouTube, because that it gives the YouTube monster the idea that you are here and it's going to recommend it to other people. But that is not the only deals that are going on already for Black Friday, even though we are a week out. We also have the Cyber Extravaganza over on AE Scripts. They always do a really good job with branding. They have a really fun time. Sometimes they do floats. This year it seems like they're doing a comet situation. And if you have watched me for any period of time, you also know that I love my plugins, and AE Scripts is a really great place for me to go and find them. With the code CYBER, you can get 25% off everything that is on the site. And there's some really great ones of popular ones that have been around for a while. There's some new updates. I love Keystone. You guys see me use that one a lot. I use that for aligning things. Deep Glow just came out with a new one, which I have not yet downloaded, but you guys know I love Deep Glow a lot. And there's things for absolutely anyone. I also recently called out Loopy because Loopy is really great. Yes, you can always use the expression loop out with parentheses, but when you are working on something with path keyframes in After Effects, loop out is not going to work. However, the Loopy script, which is $9.95 but has 25% off, you can do the math. That'll be $7.50. You are able to just click it with one click, and it's going to be able to do it. There's also an update coming where you can say the amount of loops that are coming, and from, beyond, and before. It just speeds up your workflow. It's nothing that is impossible to do without it, but it just speeds up your workflow, and I think it's really great. So check that out, and that's is all part of it. Just make sure when you check out here, you say cyber in the in the checkout. Also, parental controls is really cool. It's name your own price, which is nice. So you can make it whatever works, but it just gives an extra layer of being able to parent and have objects interact with one another on After Effects. Also, this is a great time, as always, to mention that I am a individual contractor for Adobe. These are not things that are being mentioned or endorsed directly by Adobe. They are being endorsed and mentioned by Ryan Selvy, the individual artist in Brooklyn. Please do not take this as any sort of advocacy for this site through Adobe on any professional grounds. This is just me trying to help you out. Now, you might have learned about this in the same way that I did through Blue Sky. Blue Sky is having a very, very big week, very big month, very big year, I'm not sure. Basically, over the last week or so, Blue Sky has exploded in users. If you're not familiar with Blue Sky is a social network that was actually created by Jack Dorsey within the Twitter ecosystem back in 2019 when Jack Dorsey was still in charge. It was made to be a decentralized social platform that was pretty much identical to Twitter at the time, and working on creating a protocol in the same way that an email works on a protocol. Email is a protocol in the sense that, like, think about how if you have a yahoo.com address or a gmail.com address, you can sign up and you can have all of your Yahoo email go right into your Gmail account. Like, you know how you can add extra accounts? You also can message from Gmail to Yahoo, and it's no big deal. You just write, like, you know, waitacuff@yahoo.com. I don't know if that's his email. Please don't dox him with emails if that's the case. And you can send it and it can change. And if you don't like what Gmail is doing with how they lay out their email, you can just move over to another service and set up and keep your email address. That's kind of what's happening with Blue Sky. So Blue Sky is a new social network that came to the surface. It was originally private and beta, closed doors. It opened up earlier in the year, had a little bit of a blip, but it was kind of like, well, Threads and Mastodon is around. And so it kind of faded out again. But actually out within the last week or so, Blue Sky has gotten really big again. And it is the first time in at least my experience that I've seen like a social network get big, kind of like fade and taper out and get big again. I really like it because it has a few cool things like custom algorithms. You can set your own algorithm. It has custom moderation. Blue Sky has its base moderation, but it also allows you to download block lists or share block lists or share keywords that you don't want to have show up. The whole interoperability of it is hypothetically as other services come online. If you want to get off Blue Sky, you can go off of to other things. And it's just, it's really cool, and it's really gotten big, and so much so that actually, if you check it out, Adobe Live has a account on there now. So there's no post yet there. You can see there's only 7 followers and 1 following, me being one of them. But even more excitedly, we created a starter pack earlier today. And what starter packs are this really cool new approach to social networking and being able to share people to follow. And the way that they described it is like, it was like putting wheels on a suitcase. You know, no one really thought of it, but once we did it, we being Blue Sky, there's just an amazing way of thinking like, how else does... Why has this not existed to this point? And it's really cool because you can go in there and you can follow all. We made one for Adobe Live regulars that are just regular on the show. You can see Evan Abrams and Kyle Hamrick and Jack Watson. And they're all added. I am consistently adding more people here as I have knowledge of people signing up for Blue Sky or being active on Blue Sky. Wade is just saying that he just made an account, so I'll be adding him as well. But go on over there and check it out. If you want to just follow the Adobe Live community website or Blue Sky, it's just adobelive.bluesky.social. And then if you go to starter packs within there, you'll be able to get these and you'll have it at the ready. You know, we also I know like Pixie Pew's on there. Among others. I can't think of the people that I've added because I'm a little whatever. But very exciting stuff. Cool and weird to see the internet constantly shifting. Who knows if it will continue to evolve. But in the event that it does, it's going to be there. Also, hello to Christelle Opiano, Machiavellian. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for saying hi. Oliver's saying algorithm. If you're one of those people who likes to spell things, not me. I'm not a speller person. If you guys have any other news and updates as you're going through, as I'm exploring this, please by all means put it in the chat. I'd be happy to include it. I'm also I like to think that I incorporate when people message me stuff, but I tend to forget. So I need to set up like an email or something to get more news stories. But I digress. Moving on to our next story. Sony held an event this week. I believe it was on Tuesday. I think it was yesterday. And they announced the new camera, which is the Alpha 1. Is it Mach 2, I think? And basically, it is an upgrade to their existing camera. The Sony A1 is a extremely popular standard of camera. It shoots this new one shoots in 8K and also allows you to zoom in and kind of have no lost information and no artifacts, so that you can zoom in and kind of have 4K. It has really good motion tracking. I went ahead and in the raindrop, I included the announcement video that they have for the camera on their YouTube, and you can go ahead and watch the full thing. I don't want to play the full thing because I don't know if we have the rights to, but I am going to scrub through a little bit of this and just show you guys kind of the things that they have announced. The cool things that I think really are working here, they have their chips and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's still the same from A1, and this is just kind of an update, but they can track things straight down to the eye. They can actually track even if there are no eyes visible. They increased their amount of subjects that you can look at, like insects or animals. You can see that it says there's an approximately a 30% improvement with animals, 50% in birds. Now it has an insect, so it can constantly do this continuous structure of being able to focus the objects and follow it. It has a lot of really interesting specs that are upgraded to the idea of, it's taking hundreds of references of, 120 autofocus calculations per second at 30 frames per second. It also increased the time where, like, this happens with your iPhone as well. When you hold it up and you click, you can actually get before the click. Because it's already actively recording. And actually also your iPhone does this as well to gather more information, but especially for this with like a bird taking off, like maybe they didn't click it fast enough. Hi, Ray. Welcome back to the chat. Good to see you here. Thank you for saying hello. Let us know if this is something you want to switch out. Oliver is saying, almost makes me want to switch from my Canon, but my wallet says no. Yes, it is a full price camera for you. It has all the bells and whistles. This is, a close up to show you how even at higher ISO, they're decreasing the grain. It's shooting in log for those of you that are, like really working on serious projects. S-Log 3. You can also have the LUTs or LUTs already packaged into your camera so that you can shoot in the same way or preview in the same way that your final thing's going to be working if you're shooting across an entire production. And it has, so much more, especially for all those photographers out there. There's some really cool, like, stabilizing. There's an OLED viewfinder, so you have super crystal clear vantage point of seeing what you're looking at when you're looking through the viewfinder, amongst other things. So check it out. They just announced it. I think it comes out either in December or January. They had a whole presentation for it. The walkthrough video is about 8 minutes long. I recommend just watching it. There's some cool stuff. And maybe you also take away some stuff that I did not know. Alessandro is lurking in the chat. Good to have you here. One more thing to kind of mention in our news section is that there is a new motion design hotline. There is one every Wednesday morning if you're on the West Coast, or right at lunchtime if you're on the East Coast. And this time they did a cornucopia of crazy collage. You might say, Ryan, what does that even mean? And I can't describe it, so I'm going to let the boys do it. Here you go.
Gobble, gobble. It's Evan Abrams and Kyle Hamrick here for the Motion Design Hotline. This week, we are mashing together some leftovers for some collage-style animations.
That's right. We're just a couple of turkeys making some wacky, stylized, surreal collages for you here, and talking about how we did that in Fresco and Photoshop and After Effects, mashing all that together to make this lovely recipe.
Yeah, this is a time when we celebrate really lo-fi arts and crafts, I think. I don't understand American Thanksgiving.
Have a great watching of this show, I guess. That was a weird way to end it.
Oh, and I'm thankful that you did it. Thanks, Kyle.
I just love that he doesn't understand American Thanksgiving. Like, Canadian Thanksgiving happened just a month ago. It's the same thing, I feel like. But they make some great work. They have some awesome stuff. You can check it out here right on Adobe Live, of course, as well, and as well as a bunch of all the other shows that are constantly live on Adobe Live, broadcasting Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and also some great new short-form content created by our production manager, Paco, or Francisco Siller, if you're familiar. But that is all the news that I have as far as headlines for this week. Let's go ahead and hop on into Font of the Week. So, I also appreciate the wacky turkeys and the gobble gobble in the chat. If you guys are planning on hosting a Thanksgiving of your own, or you're going someplace, give me a gobble gobble in the chat, both on YouTube and Behance. Just let me know that you guys are paying attention. Thanks, Ray, for your gobble gobble. This week, we like to always do a font of the week on the show. I like to call them out from Adobe Fonts. If you have a Creative Cloud subscription, as I assume most of you do, these are all typefaces that exist for free within your subscription. You can just activate them on the Adobe Type website. The one that I chose for today is called Casserole, and it is maybe, you know, based off of the idea that a lot of people are going to be having casserole for Thanksgiving this coming week, week from tomorrow. Oh, goodness. And I just really like the crazy over decor that this typeface has. Obviously, you would never use this in something like a body copy, but if you're looking for something big and loud, something to add extra flair, there is Casserole. I'm going to go ahead and just create a new text layer and change this to our Casserole, which is conveniently here. We're going to write File New. And you guys can see just how nice this looks. It has some really nice ornate swirls. It feels like this E and this F is a little bit emo. You know, it's like File New. And this is created from the Ono Type Company. Great name for a studio. It was created specifically by James Edmondson from the Ono Type Company. And if you go to their website, you can also license it straight off of their website. They say, we don't make fonts to make money. We make money to make more fonts. We emphasize organic over geometric, lively over perfect, and good spacing above all else. Ono is serious about having fun. They have a website that you can check out at onotype.co, which is also very pretty, and they have all of their different creations. You can I also really like Regrets, but you can see Casserole here is normally $129, but you get it for free when you are using your Adobe Live or your Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. It comes in multiple different varieties, so maybe if you did, for whatever, wanted to use it for something a little bit more body heavy, you could use the Gothic or something. But it has a lot of flexibility, and it's loud and proud. They also do such a great job. We've featured them before because they really work on documenting and showcasing their process. They walk through all the way from the beginning to where it is finalized. They have experimentation, so they show things that, like, you don't even get this portion of the font at the end of it. You just have, you know, the one that we have. But very cool, very nice reads, especially if you're on the subway, you're on the bus or something. It's just a really cool way to be able to understand the type process, because type is so elusive to me. I like to pick out the ones that I like to use, but the idea of creating my own typeface is totally wild. to give you guys just a good idea of what this looks like in the ornate one. I'll just do a few letter forms here. This is both uppercase and lowercase. You'll see that in the swirly version, it's all caps. But if you go and you switch out of the Lombardic, you switch to maybe just the classic, you can change it to Flare, you can change it to Sans, you can change it to Script, and you can change it to black letter. All very different feelings, but they all work well together. You can take the script and you can say best source, and we'll change the best source over here to something like of creator news, and that wouldn't look good if we put it all together. So let's do something, maybe we do like a Flare here. But honestly, maybe best source should be under Flare, and creator news, and it should be best source of, shouldn't it? And then creator news, we can change that to something like the classic or like Lombardic. And they work well together, really making it so you can adjust your spacing, you can adjust how it looks, its size, and really cool font. So make sure you go and you check it on out. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Don't use casserole in body copy. Challenge accepted, said Rob. All right, I would love to see if you if you do that. Wade says Val used this in her challenge yesterday. Penny says this font is somehow both stressing me out but also pulling me in. Oliver says use this font for all my text on my CV. Got it. All right. I'm going to say no. And Oliver says our equivalent of Thanksgiving was ages ago. We don't really celebrate it. But now you can celebrate it with casserole, just with the typeface here. So best source of sauce news. Yes. The casserole sauce that you have. Now, I lured you all in with an exciting promise of some awesome things that you can gift to other creators and what would be a good thing to give someone that you care about. And we have a bunch of different price points. So I want to go ahead and hop over into, I thought this would be best as Spotlight. I mean, it could also be resources, but I don't know. I said it was Spotlight. So let's hop into Spotlight. So naturally, of course, the idea of gifting for a creator is a extremely broad topic. There's a bunch of different type of creators, a bunch of different mediums, a bunch of different price points. So what I'm going to try to do is I just want to kind of break down some of the things that might be the higher end or might be for creators, and then other things that might be a little bit more appropriate if you're in a white elephant or a small secret Santa. The first one I think will be of surprise to absolutely no one is the new Apple Pencil Pro. Now, it is $130. The other caveat here is that it only works with newer iPads. So you're going to make sure that this is something that is usable by the person you're giving it to. So $129, this would maybe be for a significant other or something like that. So maybe someone very close to you. But some of the cool things that are magical capabilities for the Apple Pencil Pro, which make it different than the one that like I have just regularly for my iPad from last year, is it has a few functions that work specifically in all apps, but Adobe has also made a really good point to add them to Fresco. And if you're not familiar with Fresco, Fresco is the entirely free app from Adobe. There is no Creative Cloud subscription required to use it for all of its capabilities. You can even bring in your Photoshop brushes into it. And what's really cool about the new pencil is that it has these new sensors that can really help elevate and make it feel more natural. It has a barrel roll, which helps you roll the brushes. So, as you kind of spin the brush, it's going to also, or you spin the pencil, it's also going to spin the brush on the canvas. There was somebody that I found on YouTube that is a big brush creator. Once again, I have not spoken to her, so I don't want to show her whole video, but I do want to just call out this cool area where she's walking through a little bit of how the pencil can be used. As I was saying, with that rolling of the brush. This is Bardot brush, by the way, Bardot brush, and you can see that there are some things that can be moved around as she's kind of like spinning it. There's also the capability to, why is this on 480? We're going to switch it to 1080p. It's also really cool. She's spinning it and she's using the spokes. This is also a good showcase of haptic feedback of how it can vibrate now. And as it's locking into things and it's aligning things, Fresco is going to let you do that. Also holding it so that you can then create as you are scrolling through frames. It's also vibrating a little bit. And then there's also a new squeeze function that allows you to pull up this quick method so that rather than going down here and changing the color or going into your brush settings to change the size of the brush or the shape of the brush, you can just squeeze. It pops up this little menu, and then you can hop it around. Now, of course, this is a system-wide pencil that works on the new iPad, if they have the new iPad. And she does a really great job of walking all the way through it with 12 minutes of content. She goes through a bunch of the different apps. I just wanted to highlight the Fresco one because the Fresco one's really cool. She also highlights this cool function that they added into the Fresco app because of knowing where it is, it creates this fake shadow, which is fun. That also showcases whatever it looks like that you're using. So if it's like an eraser, it's going to look more like an eraser. If it's a highlighter, it's going to look more like a highlighter. And just those fine little details that the Fresco team has done a really great job at making things feel more natural. And then also implementing the new features of the Apple Pencil Pro. And once again, make sure whoever you're gifting it to has a new iPad, because the new iPad is required to use this one. If not, you can also buy older Apple Pencils, and they're also really great gifts. But this is just the one that would be on the wish list for me, and I also had a new iPad. But guess what, guys? I don't know. Makia Villain is saying barrel roll feature is absolutely incredible. Have you used it yourself? Do you have a new iPad and a new pencil, or were you just like in the Apple Pencil store, also known as the Apple Store, and you were able to try it out? Because I have not personally been able to try it out yet. I've just kind of watched it from afar, and it seems really, really cool. Oliver says the Pencil Pro looks pretty cool, but it's not compatible with my iPad. Penny Doodles is saying creative kids always get the generic art set with the markers and crayons, and some of them are way better than others. Some of them are way better than others when it comes to those things. Also, Alessandra's asking Wade about his hosting gig, and a lot of people saying they would like to buy it, but they just don't have the compatibility. Penny is saying, guess we all need new iPads for Christmas. Ain't that the truth? But like I said, we have lots of things that we can also go through. Another thing that's a little bit more accessible to absolutely everyone is a thing called an anti-foul glove. Now, I'm just going to pull up a Google image here to show you what it is, because it doesn't really matter which one it is. But these are the gloves that you sometimes see artists use when they're either using a Cintiq or Sense Labs or even their iPad. And you can also even use it for traditional media as well, if that's something that works for you. But it's basically a way of being able to decrease sweat that's going to be on your hand, maybe accidentally having anything of like your hand brush against the screen. I feel like Fresco has good functions so that you don't have to worry about your hand really adjusting things on the screen. But, you know, not everything's 1,000% perfect. And this is just a really good gift. It could be anywhere from like $10, like $7 or $8, up to like $25. And a bunch of different companies sell them across all different resources, but it's just a glove that covers your palm as you go across. Some people swear by it, and other people are just, you know, checking it out. Makia, in response to the Apple Pencil question that I said, yeah, I've used it. I'm a calligrapher, and it's a game changer. Lets you use brushes in ways that were impractical in the past for calligraphy on the iPad. Ooh, very, very cool. Also, would love to see some of your work at some point. We'd love to include you in a spotlight, someone who is tuning in on the show. And Wade has said, I've never heard them called this before, of an anti-foul glove. I think it's just, you know, like fouling against the work. I don't know. What did you ever call it? Did you call it just like a half glove, a drawing glove? What else would you even? When I was just looking things up, I think this is what it is. And Key says these simply didn't exist when I bought my tablet, and I had to go to a tailor and ask to make one. Now they're everywhere. You're kidding. Keys, are you serious? Perva says it basically protects the screen from oil and mustard. What? Mustard. Umacorn says I've got one of those. Umacorn's got a lot of mustard. So yeah, like I said, those are like $8 to $25. Artist glove or a drawing glove. There's other ways you can look up to find them. And like I said, there's no specific brand that is like way better than any of the other ones. It's just kind of what else. And the last iPad specific, tablet specific thing that I'm going to bring up, and as I said, this is coming from Ryan Selvy. This is not coming from Adobe. Paperlike is a very popular screen cover that you can get for tablets that make the screen feel less slippery and feel more like paper. They are closer to the $50 range, and they also sell pencil tips that can also help feel like it. I have had friends that have sworn by this. They've said that they like that it feels like it is paper. There also can be magnetic so that it doesn't have to stay on there forever. You can pull it off when you want to use it as just a regular tablet and put it back on when you want it to feel like paper. But I've also had friends say that it wears down the nubs of their Apple Pencil a little bit. So obviously do your research and figure out if this is something that you feel like someone would like. But I have a few friends that will not use an iPad without a Paperlike cover. Paperlike is also not the only company to make these covers, but these are the first ones that I ever saw. So I kind of want to just give credit where credit is due, because they kind of incorporated this into their into the ecosystem, and it's pretty cool. And it just makes it so it feels that little like pool rather than it feel like drawing on a screen, which I feel like holds up a lot of people from being able to use the flexibility and the portability of a tablet. Does anyone in the chat use any of these? Oliver has said that he has also heard people say that it wears down the pencil nibs too. So maybe you could also, gift them some pencil nibs if that's something that you anticipate. Yesenia says, yes, I love Paperlike. And Rob was also wondering about Paperlike himself. And Apurva has heard about them and been recommended them. I think there are many. One is called Paper Fine, I think, says Keys. It's definitely something to check it out. Penny, however, did not like it. The texture was weird. So it's not a one size fits all, but it is something that, always have a gift receipt. It doesn't hurt. It always feels weird to provide a gift receipt, but at the same time, I don't know, it's nice to have a gift receipt, because if you don't like it, you don't like it. It's fine. Moving on from the iPad and into the desktop world for all of us who don't necessarily draw, there is a company called Work Louder, and they create custom keyboards that are really cool for. They also have a Black Friday deal, apparently. Got it. And one of the things they have here is they have a small thing that you can use called the Creator Micro. It's apparently sold out, so I guess you can't get it. Maybe you can get it in the second hand. But it's basically mappable keys and dials that you can use to adjust and make macros happen on screen. So you can say, rather than the idea that you have to press Control Alt D or something, you just change it to one click, so then you can click it on the side. And these are just cool things that you can have and put on your desktop, and then you can be able to click it, and this can apply to Photoshop. You can also get other keys where it's just something where if you always want it to be the same, you can have it pop up. These are on the more expensive side. These are $129. Work Louder is somebody who has watched a lot of Adobe Live before, and I've spoken to him. He's a great guy. Once again, Ryan recommendation, not an Adobe recommendation. And then also just really great keyboards. I mean, across the board, everyone really likes to really geek out over keyboards. I personally just have a regular keyboard, but something to keep an eye on. Now, at Adobe Max, I will also say that I was brought on to something similar, which is called the Logitech MX Creative Console. They just launched it, And to be completely transparent here, guys, they gave me a free one, and I have one right on my desk right here. The cool thing about this one, okay, is that it has a capability, and the reason that it really sold me was, aside from this dial, something that it has that I really like is it has this button which creates a pinwheel, which when you click it, it like pops up with different things that you can set. And so I need to set it up specifically for Photoshop, but you could click it and at any point it just pops up and you can like change your brush size, or you can change the saturation point and have different adjustment sliders based off of it. It also works alongside, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to lift it up or not, this little thing that allows me to do a bunch of stuff. I have it even set up for Microsoft Teams, which is nice. And you can click between brushes. You can add reactions in Microsoft Teams when it's there. It also has music control for me as well. This is also going to be a little bit more expensive. All of these are going to be kind of expensive. This is $200. But it has direct Creative Cloud support right out of the box, which is really nice. I didn't really have to set much up. You can just go in and have full control over it. It all takes place in the Logitech hub, which is nice. And you can always easily switch out what is happening when you press on the Logitech options. Let's see if I click this here. It's a very pretty purple. And you can see I can hop in and you can change the Photoshop able to also change what happens when you click the action rings, like brightness, contrast, exposure value, vibrance, hue, saturation, and you can hover over them, and then you can then use this little circular thing to then adjust it accordingly, which is really nice. So I've been fun. I'm trying to work it more into my workflow. Can you hear me? Sorry if that... I think it happened when I opened up the Logitech stuff. Maybe it got all goofy. Am I gone entirely? Buffering for me. Oh, don't love that. Why are we buffering? Maybe we're back. Oh, it's back. All right, cool. Sorry, guys. Back for now. Of course, back for forever, Wade. Back for forever. All right, give a refresh. Give a refresh. Ah! Well, that's no fun. Let's see if I exit out of Logitech G Hub. Maybe that'll help. Quit. All right, we're gonna see if this helps. Oh no, too soon. Like the Tyson fight. Yes, that's also a big news story that happened. Netflix was trying to do the live streaming thing. People still haven't figured out live streaming enough. All right, I'm just gonna... Refreshing helps. All right, so give it a refresh. Hang out. Sorry about that, everybody. And thanks for sticking with me as I pop up. I'm also gonna get rid of this creator news best source of, because we're just gonna go back to here. Next up, one last one that we have, and this is one that I've had for a while. The Stream Deck. It's from Elgato. Elgato makes a lot of great creator tools for both streamers. But the cool thing about it, and we talked about it a little bit on Adobe Live a few weeks ago, is you can take these buttons and you are able to remap them to be a bunch of different like Photoshop commands, and that's XLR mic, but there's also ones that have little dials on it, which are really neat, where you can then go and you can change both volume, or like you can see here it says color spectrum. They also have native support, so that when you are going and you're updating your Elgato Stream Deck, you can just click the plugin that then, well, you know, here I have some other stuff, but you can just go to this little plugins area, and you can see it has the ultimate Photoshop controller. It gives you full control over a bunch of different actions that you can have, which is nice. You can do tool selection, layer navigation, undo, redo, your hue slider controls, and just make it work for your liking. You know, they say here they have adjust hue, adjust saturation, adjust lightness, and that's also something. Once again, also going to be a little expensive. I think these are like 100 to 200. There's many different versions of them. There's a smaller version, which is the Stream Deck Neo, which I think is going to be your cheapest one. There's going to be $99.99, so maybe for a boyfriend, girlfriend, who knows. But that's also something you can have. And then just a few more things for people, maybe for photographers, is a Peak Design Capture camera clip. I got this one, honestly, from the B&H website. B&H has a really good resource of a bunch of different gifts that you want to get for photographers. The capture clip is really good because if you've ever worked with a tripod, you've ever worked with a camera, you know that they have those little twisty ties, and then you kind of have to like take it off. It takes time. With the capture clip, it is a little bit pricey for a clip, but you want to make sure that your stuff is secured. And this is going to make it so that you are able to quickly take off and re-put on your camera without losing much time and without having to slow down your shoot. It just goes on, goes off. Ryan's catalog for this season is already pushing $2,000. I know. Like I said, all over the board. But to that point, we can also talk about maybe something that's cheaper for somebody. There is a camera dust removal tool. Now, this looks a little funny, I'm aware, but this one is quite popular one. It's kind of like a rocket ship. This is $9, so very accessible. And this is just a really good way to make sure that your sensors are clean, your lenses are clean. You can just throw this in your back pocket or your backpack, your camera bag, and it's a really good way to just keep all your stuff in lock. And if you have multiple of these, it's not a problem. Like, this is just a great, easy thing that you can buy for somebody, and they're going to use it. And if they already have one, it doesn't hurt to have a second. So you can see that there's also many other like varieties of them at different prices. I don't think you have to spend a lot of money for this to be good. It's essentially just a woof of air that is clean, and is very good for photographers. Moving on to some more, we also have a keychain multi-tool. I know we just talked about the quick release, but like, let's say maybe you can't necessarily get a quick release for someone because it's too expensive. This is a $12 gift, and this is really good for just being able to quickly get cameras on and off without having to use a key or something. You can add it to your keys so that you can quickly, but in this example, you can see you just use it, you flip it, you can unscrew and screw things on. This is another thing. If they already have it, you can have more than one, and it's really helpful. And this is only $12.95, but there are many different types, and so just check it on out. And then one last camera suggestion for photographers is a protective wrap. Now, we were talking a little bit about camera, and we were talking about throwing things into your bag. One of the things that's really helpful is be able to have a protective wrap where you can put some sensitive equipment that you don't want to have scratched or hurt, or you just want to have that extra layer of padded cloth between it and the outside world. These can all be folded up and thrown anywhere. And as I keep saying, this is yet again another thing that if they already have one, they will be happy to get more. You can never have too many of these guys. I mean, I guess you could if you had like 40, but it's always good to have these, just be able to throw them somewhere and be able to check it out. And then we have one more thing on our list, and this is a waterproof color chart. This is something that you hold up at the beginning of when you're taking a video, and it helps you always get the same white balance, the same colors, so that when you're later color grading or you're messing with something, you can go back and you can reference this directly. Once again, this is just something that is like $15, and this is something that you can pop right up. You put it at the beginning of your film or your video or whatever, and then it just makes editing so much easier when you sit down to edit away. So yeah, that is pretty much everything that I had here for the gift list. If you guys have any ideas or suggestions for things that you would get for somebody, by all means, throw that in the chat. And I'll be adding these all to the Raindrop. I don't think I added them to the Raindrop yet because I wasn't sure how we're going to necessarily add them or where I was going to put them in the show. But it is something to keep an eye on. We only got about 10 minutes left here. So I think, what should we hop on into? I guess we should hop into rebrand. I like the rebrand that we have going, so let's do rebrand. Also, my camera. Look at this, like, orange. Look at this, like, situation. Like, this is daylight savings time. It's the fact that I have these changing while I'm down here. Just gets so dark so early. To go through a few of our different rebrands, the fastest one that I think we can just kind of blow through real quick is that there is a new logo for the penguin, and people are noticing that the little sharp angle here is giving the idea of the nose of the penguin and of the beak, but it apparently was probably just a happy accident, because the typeface that they used just naturally has that G, and it says, yeah, like the Batman logo before it, the Penguin logo appears to be based on the typeface PL Fiorello Condensed, which has similar angles on some of the other letters, but it seems makers of the series also noticed and made clever use of the connection overlaying the font on actor Colin Farrell's profile in one episode. So real great, simple, easy, also like nice typeface, you know, nice condensed typeface, legible, strong, powerful, good spacing. And always nice to be able to do like a little subtle wink and a nod to your content through the typeface and your typeface choice. I wanted to talk also about this cool new MSN logo. You guys remember MSN? This one is through Creative Block, which I don't want to blast their entire website because I know they do paywalls, but I did want to bring up the MSN logo. If you forget what the old one looks like, it looked like that for forever. It was introduced in 2000. This feels way newer, way more exciting. And I'm going to open up the picture in itself. You can see here that they're using gradients. And we talked a little bit about this a few weeks ago over the idea of how gradients are becoming more present in logos because we don't necessarily need to worry about printing as much. But and also, by the way, for the penguin, Rob Magnell is saying the typeface made me watch the series. I'm not sorry. And they kept the butterfly, so cute. And the cool thing that I like about this, I'm sorry that it's a little pixelated, is that there is shadows, but the shadows are actually still just radial gradients. You can see that this shadow here, and if we copy actually and paste this into Photoshop, I can show you that it's just a gradient of, I'm going to use this, go to shape. We'll go like this, create this shape. Oops. Don't mind me. You should probably do this, honestly, in Illustrator, but we're just going to do it here. I'm going to do like that. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. And from here, with the fill, I'm going to move it out so that we can properly do this. But if you see under fill, if we're using the gradient, and I'm just going to go ahead and grab the dark and say, okay. I'm going to grab the light here. It's not completely perfect, but we do radial. I need to switch the sides. Switch the sides for me, please. Come on. We need light in the middle, dark on the outside. And within your gradient, I'm not going to align with layer. We actually want to move the gradient. You know what? Don't be here, Ryan. We're just going to go to gradient tool. All right. And because I'm a noob, I'm going to just create a clipping mask just to get my point across here. Because I also love the gradient tool so much more than anything else that they've had. This is relatively new, and it's great. But so I'm just going to make that a little bit darker and bring it down, and it's just off center, you see? Like, bring it down some more. If we go like that, like it's just, oh, I added blue on accident. It's just kind of like an added gradient to the side. And then they're just doing the same thing with the blue, and adding a form of gradient that's off to the side. I think it's just such a strong, nice approach because it doesn't get too messy. It just gets to a good spot. Bring this over. Put this on top. Like I said, this is not by any means. Also, I really need to learn my Alt-Control-G for... I even referenced it earlier today. I need to learn my keyboard shortcut for clipping masks because I use clipping masks all the time. And see, this is just a radial gradient. There's nothing else special to it, which is pretty nice. And you can see that when we put those side by side and we overlap them, it creates the same thing, which is really nice. Obviously, some fine-tuning is involved and is important. But I just thought that was a cool little touch. I think it looks clean. It looks nice. It's a nice update. It stays true to what it was. Faster in Illustrator. I know. And Oliver's saying they're changing the Microsoft 365 logo in a similar way, too. We're talking about it in the Ignite keynote. Very cool. When can we watch that? Let us know. Oliver noticed the MSN logo the other day, and it's being pushed through updates, it seems, which is cool. We got about 3 minutes left. So one last thing that I wanted to talk about on here, because I advertised it, I want to make sure, and it's linked to, is a post from Binder, and they make you accept your cookies apparently. But they did some things, and they did some rare shades used in logos. Seashell, lavender blush, pale green, violet, honeydew, and mint green. And then they also are looking at the most colors most common in 2024. Naturally, you have black and white, but midnight blue and crimson was a surprise to me. And this is an analysis of over 15,000 brand logos. They do a really good breakdown of why these colors might be important, where they are, what industries, to try to see how you can even color, see how much is goldenrod. You can see that what different portions of logos are there, and what is you can look at also sectors if you wanted to, like technology. Naturally, midnight blue is really big. There's a lot of blue in technology. But it's a fun read. It doesn't take too long. It takes about 10 minutes to read. And it's a good resource to be able to check. And you can always run it by to see if you wanted to hop out and have your own color for your own brand. And then maybe we'll talk about this next week, because I did want to talk about it a little bit, which is the rise of the Duolingo bird and how it is shaping their branding and how their company talks about it, and the success of giving... I read this the other day, and I guess it used up my thing. But it's also really cool how they changed the color of the bird and the shape and the design of the bird to kind of be sickly, and it was really successful. And the idea of really pushing your branding to the limits, even if it gets a negative backlash, because then it might also be embraced and excited. So we went through a lot. Like I said, hope I didn't break your wallets for the brand colors, but make sure you check it out. Everything's available in the rain drop that's listed in here. Make sure you check out the starter pack on Blue Sky. Let me know if you are on Blue Sky, and I'll be doing updates there as well. You can find me, Ryan Selvy, on Instagram, or ryanselvy.com on Blue Sky. Next week is Thanksgiving, so we are off. And then the following week, I think we're going to have another guest host for File New. So I guess I'm just turning into a guest host myself. But File New will return on December 4th with guest host, and then I'll be back on December 11th. So see you guys in just a little bit. Be sure to follow me on Blue Sky for all updates, and I'll see you all real soon. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for being in the chat, and I will talk to you all real soon. Thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, and there's plenty of new Adobe Live coming up. So what do we have next? I guess I should probably prompt that, shouldn't I? Don't go anywhere. Coming up next, we have office hours. Of course, office hours. It's always office hours with Andrew Hawkroddle. So make sure you guys check it out. And I will talk to y'all real soon. Take care. Bye.